Good evening, everyone. March, 29th, 2019. I've been thinking about this video for a while. I saw one guy's channel, Scott Johnson. He talked about his origin, I kind of into comic books about, Spider-Man, on the quest for his Holy Grail, Amazing Fantasy 15. And it just got me thinking, what was my story? What was my start? And well, it all started really in the very, very beginning, 1938, with Action Comics #1, Superman. Superman was my favorite superhero. He's always been my favorite. It's that ideal, he's that ideal, that you strive for, kind of a thing. Maybe his strength or his, but I always liked him. So there's something about him. I always liked him. He was one of my favorites. And so I remember I think I was 14 or 15 at the time. I had liked superheroes before and all that, cartoons and stuff like that, but I never really got into it in a way. But it was I think, I had high school in the library, they have like graphic novels and stuff like that on the shelves, depending on the size of your library, school library and all that. And either the school library or it was a public library, but same thing, it was a library. And really, what got me started was this. Death of Superman, graphic novel. All that, and just, I liked the story. It was a shocker, that this close to a god as any living being can be killed. It riveted to you, and gets you to pay attention. And so I remember reading that, then read that, grabbed the World Without Superman, The Return of Superman. Hell, I even bought the Superman Wedding and Beyond. But when I got into it with the Death of Superman, it just really got me started. It was always interesting. I love the storyline. I must have read those countless times. It was a strength that I never had before, in a sense. What inspired me, I think. But I read those so many times throughout high school and college. But I still never got into comics. The closest thing I got into comics as a kid was running out on Sunday morning to the road to go get the Denver Post so I can read the comics section. I read Garfield, and occasionally I bought those Archie comic digests and read those. And I loved reading those. But I didn't get really into comics. Back then, as a kid in middle school and high school, when I was getting into the Death of Superman, that I kind of thought comics were dorky, geeky, something that I wasn't into. We all think certain ways, your viewpoint today is far different than the viewpoint that you had when you're 8 years old. Perspective changes, you change. Things just happen. But the closest I came to comics as growing up and all that was, the Sunday newspaper. Reading the Death of Superman graphic novels and all that. I really liked it, and I watched the Justice League and the Adventures of Superman on TV. Always loved those shows. Superman was always my favorite. And that just the way it continued. I had other hobbies, other interests. I watched football on Sundays, with the Broncos, one of my favorite team. I loved history. That was my geeky thing in school. I loved history, especially military history. You could almost ask me any question about military history, and I could answer it. Harry Potter, that's what got me into reading when I was in 4th grade. So I had other interests at the time growing up. So it wasn't in comics. It was one of those things. But eventually, and like I said, I grew up, and like I said, this last year when I was 29, I got into comics August or September 2018. And it happened because of a tattoo. My local comic book shop is called The Shop. It's located in Alamosa, Colorado. They started out tattoos and piercings. That's what the owner, Zach, that's what he does for a living, is mostly tattoos. And I don't know, he according to him, I think they someone was into comics, and they were gonna do like a joint. They decided to do a joint comic business thing that the other guy pulled out, but he still wanted to do it. So Zach got registered with Diamond, I think, or some of Diamond, and now the local comic shop, or the shop, the tattoos, sells comic books too. They have a big old shelf section and boxes, and they sell comics. So it became a tattoo, piercing, and comic book shop. So that's where I go every Wednesday for New Comic Book Day. It's not a big shop. It's mostly new stuff, and a year or two old kind of most stuff. I mean, it's few and far between for the older stuff. You'll be hard pressed to find anything silver or bronze age. It's mostly just modern. But they do have stuff. I mean, I got my Fantastic Four 63 there. I got my Amazing Spider-Man 44, Second Appearance of the Lizard there. So they do get old stuff now and then. They are starting to get a little section there for Silver Age stuff. Not the best shape, but then again, he can't afford to have pristine, tie up everything in comics. He has to make a living. But they do sell good stuff there. But I was getting tattooed. In fact, I was getting this one, family crest. My family crest. That I was redesigned. Like I said, I'm really into history. I was getting this one touched up because the original place I got it, line work was a foreign word, apparently. So it was fading. It needed to be touched up. And while I was sitting there, getting a tattoo, I kept looking at the section of the store that was CGC Comics, just up there. I was just looking there, staring at it for a couple hours. I was staring at this book, Action Comics 687, 9.2. Get rid of it. Yeah, not the best glare. But I was staring at this. The green color I liked. And the logo of Superman, I always liked it. Like I said, I have a tattoo of this of Superman logo on my left calf. Like I said, big into Superman. So I was just watching it, and I thought, I want that. That is cool. But I didn't have the money at the time. I was paying $400 for a tattoo. So I went home after my tattoo was done. Word, I'd never see this again. Or I figured I was thinking I'd never see it again. It was going to be gone. Came back a couple weeks later, just to say hi and visit. The owners are friends of mine. We've become good friends. He's my tattoo go-to guy. He's right, Zach, I always go to him for tattoos. He's the best. He treats me great. He does everything above and beyond. He gives me great deals. And I come back and this was still there. And I had extra money at the time, and I thought, I'm buying this. I don't want this to get away. At the time, I was thinking I was only going to get this guy, and, you know, like they say about tattoos, you know, I just want one tattoo. Right. Just one. Sure. Tattoos are addictive. I'm covered with them. It was like the first cigarette, the first hit of some drug, first sip of alcohol, and you're hooked. For those people addicted to things like that. I thought about it, and I thought I was really into Superman, and I thought, you know what? I'll get the issue that I love. I'll get my all-time favorite issue of Superman. You know, and so I found this. I bought this Superman 75, 9.6. Would like to have gotten the 9.8, but it was like $100 more at the time, and I could afford this one. So, first print of Death Superman. And like I said, it's addictive. I thought, I have the Death of Superman. I need to have, there you go. I need to have his origin, or his first appearance, the very first thing of Superman. This is a Loot Crate reprint. Obviously, it's not I couldn't afford a real Action Comics #1, nor would it probably look in this good of shape. But that was that. And before I knew it, I was hooked. I had to have this one because it's my all-time favorite issue. Like I said, Superman dying, you know, giving his all for those he cares about. It's, you know, the selfless sacrifice. It's what anyone wants. It's what anyone should do if they really love and care for something. You know, what are you willing to sacrifice yourself for? Apparently, you know, it's a lesson. It's kind of like reading. It's not like in the books, you know, with Harry Potter. I liked Harry Potter. It was about friends and love and, you know, courage and all these other lessons that are in these stories that are fiction, but there's real good lessons in them. But anyway, like I said, I was hooked. One of the first things I did was try and collect the run. You know, I started going in every single week on Wednesday and getting new comic books. Started out with Action Comics and Superman. You know, I don't know if Michael Bendis' Superman #1 had come out just yet, but I started getting comics. You know, for everything from, you know, often, like I said, the death, the reign, the world without Superman, all of that, you know, issues mundane as this one. Superman, Adventures of Superman 496, where the only connection to Death of Superman was the last page, you know, with, you know, like on this second print of Superman Man of Steel 17, the last, you know, first appearance of Doomsday, just Doomsday's coming, you know. These books, you know, the fight, the death, you know, started out that way, and also, you know, create a list, all the comics I needed to do, that needed to get. You know, I went through the graphic novels here. Okay, the Death of Superman. I need Man of Steel 18. You know, I know I do have Man of Steel 18. It's right down there in my filing system. You know, I have several of this one. Like I said, because it's my favorite. I have 2 first prints. This one raw, the other one CGC'd. 1 second edition, 1 second print, 1 third print. Started getting Funeral for a Friend, Funeral for a Friend for the World Without Superman. Like I said, Legacy of Superman, all the stuff, even if it has nothing major to do. Even if it had nothing real major to do. Sometimes, I had only one issue, like this Green Lantern 46. For a while, I only had one issue of one comic of Green Lantern. Green Lantern's cool. My favorite being John Stewart. I never really liked Hal too much. I always thought John Stewart was cooler without the mask, because he didn't have the mask. But for a while, it's the only Green Lantern I had. It was, like I said, I wasn't interested in Green Lantern. I only got a few. In fact, I think I only have one other Green Lantern. It was the reboot of it. The reboot of the one just coming out. I got the Green Lantern #1 because it was a #1. But that's the only one I have besides this Green Lantern. I have today I just hit 701 comics. I've been collecting for 8 months. Have 700 comics. 2 are Green Lanterns. Everything from this Superman 82, sealed up, packet thing, with full color poster and all that other stuff. Bought a second print just so I could read it. I think I got it for like $1. Other things like that. Like I said, the wedding. I have both the wedding editions, the wedding look-alike one and the regular cover. It's down there, second on the right, bottom shelf, second from the right. But yeah, this is what I like. Hell, I even found the novel that I'm reading now, The Life and Death of Superman. Took a while before I found a good copy that was not outrageous. It was hard to find it. It's like this book was published. Let's see, I won't spend too much time on it, but yeah, 1993. So not necessarily hot off the presses, but but yeah. And that's what it is. That's what I collect. I have all 4 of the intros of Cyborg, Superman, Eradicator, Man of Steel, and Superboy. Got hollow foil of all these Man of Steel miniseries, the 2 6-part miniseries of Man of Steel. Got 2 or 3 actually probably 4 Action Comics 1000. 2 being signed with different covers, 1 a black and white and a regular one. The good covers, and I buy them. So what can I say? Hell, like I said, even inspired. One of my hobbies includes painting. Bet you can't guess which cover it is. It's my own. Like I said, I changed a few things. That one thing is over there. The logo instead of Superman, because I couldn't do that smaller figure. I made it my own. Oops. But yeah, this is my story. My favorite DC character is Superman. My Marvel one being Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man. Those are the two comics I get regularly. I have my usual regular ones, but if all else failed and I could only have 2 comics a week, and I'll buy 2 comics, I'd buy Amazing Spider-Man and Superman. He was just an inspiration. I loved him as a kid. He was always so cool. He could fly, super strong. Became a teenager, X-ray vision. I mean, what teenage boy wouldn't like X-ray vision? And it was fun. He was cool. He was a good guy. Good guy who did the right thing for the right reasons without complaint. And he always saved the day. No matter how tough, and how insurmountable the odds, he was so cool. His costume was awesome. The movies I've seen, I've seen the old ones, with Christopher Reeve, 1, 2, part of 3. I never saw 4. I watched Smallville, all 10 seasons, even have 2 or 3 of them. About my favorite seasons. I didn't buy them all the time, but if I liked a particular season a lot, I bought it. 4, I think 7, when Supergirl showed up, and the final one. But yeah, this comic, this Action Comics comic, the Die Cut Collector's Edition, is what started it all. It was what started it. Was what started the comics are cool. A little less than a year ago. I am a fresh fish, a newbie. Some people have been doing it for 40 years. Others have been into it for a few years. I'm still a young kid. I'm still a young kid, but I definitely changed my mind. Definitely changed my mind. But anyway. So, that's my story. Superman is where it all began. Thanks to a couple of guys in 1938. 81 years ago. 81 years. And I started collecting. Literally right after Action Comics 1000. Literally right after it. At least I believe so. Not right along. So, I chose a good time to pop in, I guess. I collect them. I collect the ones I like when I can, when I like them. I have other issues, like Amazing Spider-Man, that I'm really going after the runs, trying to get all the issues. I save Superman for more special. I could buy every single Superman, but some of the storylines are just not very interesting. I mean, we all have the storylines that we just don't like, I guess. But, Superman is the ideal, of what you want to be, and Amazing Spider-Man. Spider-Man is the everyday guy. So much more relatable too than Superman, because I don't know about you, but I can't fly. But Superman will always hold a special place in my heart. He's where it all began, and he's where it will always be. I have a couple of holy grails, that I'd want. One of them being a 9.8 Superman number 75 there, but signed by Dan Jurgens. At least Dan. Because, he created the best storylines. Reign of Superman, Death of Superman. That whole year in 1992 or 93, it was, awesome. That was one for sure. Just because if I could find a book, one of the books, C2C, that book, because I think the original creators, you know, the original creators of Superman, Jerry's, I can't think of their names off the top of my head, but they wouldn't be around to see. Just I don't think they were quite there. I mean, when they died, but I don't think they signed any of my favorite issue there. So it is what it is. I have other holy grails for other things like Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man #1, Amazing Fantasy 15. For my Spider-Man obsession, although those three are related or reasonable goals, reached easy enough. I can't afford a Amazing Fantasy 15 by any means, but it's a lot more attainable than a Action Comics #1. That is the holiest of holy grails for me. Unless I win the lottery tomorrow, bank windfall of 50, 100, $300 million, I'm not gonna be able to afford an Action Comics #1. Not by any means at all. But if I ever do, the two comics, if I ever win the lottery, win the Mega Million, $101 billion or $900 million, Mega Million, buying 2 comics first. Action Comics #1, any grade, as long I think I'd like at least a 2.0. I think that's my 2.0 or 1.5 is my absolute lowest. No, yeah, I guess. But ideally, 2.0 is the lowest grade I want at all for anything. 2.0 or 2.5 at the lowest. But again, Action Comics #1, I'll buy it at any price just to say I own it. And Amazing Fantasy 15, those 2 books will be the very first thing I do just for me after paying off a couple of bills. Those are my grails. This is my story. And this is my journey into comic books. I really look forward to where it's going to go. And I can't wait to see what's in store. Shout out to a couple of guys here, right here at the end. Shout out to a couple of guys who inspire me to do videos like this on YouTube. Arkham Comics and Collectibles. I love your video. The videos to say Long Box Love Affair. We love comics. You guys. Oh, hey, Stay Puff. It's all right. I'm actually getting ready to sign off. Actually, yeah, it's all right. It's all right. I understand. I just had a good time talking. I'll hang around for a few more minutes now that you're here, just to say hi. Hate to be rude, but yeah, it all started. Just you can just easily watch it. I don't have to watch from the beginning. It's too much of the past 30 minutes to sum it all up. Yeah, but it all started with this, the graphic novel, The Death of Superman '75, or Death of Superman with copper on the top there. Middle school or high school, about 14, 15 years old. I believe it was in the library, public library. Just, it enthralled me, this storyline above all else. The death of Superman, reign of Superman, and enthralled me beyond all else. I have every single issue, as well as the, for death, reign, and wedding, as well as the graphic novels. And hell, just today I bought, I pre-ordered the Death of Superman omnibus. That's coming out here. I would have gotten the, I understand it. I watched the guy, I don't know who he was on YouTube. Yeah, big stack. This is you. I just hit 701 comics today. I've been collecting for 8 months. It's like, wow. Didn't realize I'd grow that quickly. But but the omnibus, I would have gotten I saw the guy who had two in front of him when he was talking about the third one that I pre-ordered. But I would have gotten the second one he showed, but the prices I saw on even eBay or Amazon were $200 at the lowest, usually around 250, 300 for for the condition that was above, you know, piece of shit, for a lack of a better phrase. So I thought, I'm not going to spend 250, 300 bucks on a used omnibus. What is Jean Paul Laspi? I'm sorry, I can't quite make that out. What's good? Thanks for sharing out your video now. Thank you. Yeah, the original omnibus is out of print and huge. Well, that's much an easier way of saying things. Stay Puft, GPAP, Jean, Paul, Ace, Peter, or yeah, okay. Thank you. I was like, God, I feel stupid and I hate to sound like I'm insulting you. But yeah, I wasn't gonna spend 250, 300 bucks for a Death of Superman omnibus that was used and not in new condition. I spent $97, I think, total, with free shipping for a brand new one, pre-ordering it on Amazon. And so, like I said, I have every single issue of the Death of Superman, Reign of Superman, the Wedding, as well, and all that. And so I wasn't going to spend. I know, as well the graphic novels. Listen, I wasn't going to spend 3 times for an older omnibus. But yeah, since you're here, Stay Puft and GPAP, my all-time favorite comic book, favorite cover, Superman 75. Would have gotten the 9.8, but at the time I couldn't quite afford it because it was like $100 more. I didn't feel like spending that much. But it inspired so much. One of my hobbies includes painting. Like I said, you'll see this if you guys rewatch the video. I changed the cover a bit, but I made it my own. I couldn't do the logo itself of him flying there, but he inspired so much. Changed things so much. It all started. He was just my favorite. It all started with Superman. Thank you for the compliment. What's good? Oh, that's good, boy. Or anyway, sorry. It's been a long day, so I can't quite focus so much on reading the screen. But yeah, it all started with Superman. He, that's where it started. He was what I loved for years, watching the show, Adventures of Superman, Justice League, Smallville, waiting for 10 whole dang seasons before Clark Kent finally got his white butt in the air. It's like irritating as hell. Every time you see him flying on the show, you're like, yes, he's finally gonna start flying, and then he's grounded again. It's like, but it all started. My comic book collecting all started with Superman. It all started with this very first issue that I got while getting a tattoo. You stare at this. It was my favorite cover that was there on the shelf, and you stare at it for 4 hours. In fact, like I said, you can see it earlier in the show, but I was getting this tattoo touched up, my family crest. Staring at this for 4 hours, and I just fell in love with it, and I bought it, thinking it'd be the only comic book I ever owned, because I wasn't going to get into comic books. I didn't have anything against people who collected comic books. I just thought, a lot of money. God, it was a lot of money I spent over the past year, and it just all fell into place. Yeah, definitely. I have all 4. In fact, that was one of the first things I did when I could afford it. I bought all 4 CGC'd, as well as all the as well as I bought another copy of each cover in raw form, and I even bought the original cover. Because that's the collector's die cut. Definitely collecting comics can be addicting. I'm only gonna get one tattoo. Yeah, I'm covered with them. Anything that's fun is addicting. But yeah, I have multiple copies of my favorite Superman stuff. The collector die cut, the raws of the introduction of Superboy, Man of Steel, Eradicator, Cyborg Superman, as well as the CGC of Superman 75, a raw of the first print, both of them were first prints. One second print, one third print. I think there's at least 4, at least 5, I think, but yeah, I started with a basket, yay big, yay big, 18 inches, thinking that was going to last me a real long time. Boy, was I an idiot. I had to buy a short box before long. Had to buy another one. Had to buy a long one. Yeah, and so it just blew the hell up. I had to buy, so I just started collecting. My go-tos are always Superman. Starting with the Michael Bendis relaunch, Superman. I do have several from all throughout the 1,009 issues. Action Comics. That's what I get every week. Is Action Comics, Superman. My other driving character is Amazing Spider-Man. It's weird because I seem to be a man of polar opposites in my drives. It's weird. Like I cannot function in the middle ground. I have to have two things on opposite ends, and that just encompasses everything. I idolize Superman because he is everything I wanted to be as a kid. He was strong. He was cool. He did the right thing for the right reasons. He was amazing. He was perfection as a kid. You could do no wrong with Superman. Superman could do anything. He was God in human form. No blasphemy intended. And then my other polar opposite being Spider-Man. Because as Stan Lee said, Spider-Man was the everyday man. Like if he couldn't afford to take a date on a date home in a cab and they had to take the subway, it was real experiences, real person. And after all, he's known as the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. He's the everyday man. He's the everyday man that you can relate to, and the idol that you always want to be but can never reach. And those are the two bookends of my collection. All 701 as of today issues. In fact, I think I have 704, but the comics that I just ordered today haven't come in the mail. But Ravens, I'm sitting at roughly 1,500 comics, mostly Flash and Legion of Superheroes. Well, that's cool. I have the Flash too. Not many. I think the ones I really have is the real recently the Flash Wars. That's the main Flash I have. Otherwise, I don't really have many Flashes, and never really read Legion of Superheroes, other than watching the show Superman and his legendary friends. Thought the introduction and those things were so cool back then. Oh, Uncanny Kyle Waka, I think as I said. Hey from New Zealand. That's so cool. I actually wanted to move there a couple of years ago. Me and my wife, we thought New Zealand is a beautiful, beautiful country from what I've seen. Like the Chronicles of Narnia movies, I think were filmed there. Beautiful, beautiful location, beautiful country. And I think it was a shooting that was there recently. I think there. I'm really sorry, and my sympathies are with you. or in your country, if I'm not mistaken. I'm getting a lot of people here talking right now. Really appreciate you guys showing up. I mean, it was right there at the end, so now I'm basically just rambling and talking. And this is what you'll have to rewind to the beginning to really hear my whole story. It'd be another 20 minutes for me to have to, for me to explain the whole thing again. But like I said, I've read Death of Superman so many times, the storyline. I have the novel, the graphic novels, every issue of Death, Reign, World Without Superman. Have the Superman Omnibus that's coming out here on April 16th that I pre-ordered. So really look forward to reading that, reading it again. But yeah, a lot has changed for me. I just started collecting really 8 months, 9 months ago at the most. I'm new. I'm a new fish still. As Stay Puff here on Instagram, when he was giving me a shout out, I am new to the community. I really am new. I have several guys I love to watch on YouTube. Arkham Comics, Longbox Love Affair, We Love Comics, just being several, 3 Men in a Basement. Several, I watch on a regular basis. Oldest book in my collection. Don't suppose reprints count. Oldest book in my collection. Probably my Amazing Spider-Man 31. First appearance of Gwen Stacy, Harry Osborn, I think. I think that is my oldest, 65, I think. Yeah, I don't have any books from the 50s at all. I don't have anything from the Golden Age. I have Silver Age and Modern. Yeah, that is a good book. I have several, or a couple, several. 3 CGC, one by Stan Lee, Amazing Spider-Man 43. Amazing Spider-Man 300 signed by McFarlane himself. I don't get very many. Usually I have to buy these books. Mostly I have to buy these old Silver Age books on eBay because my local comic book shop, which is called The Shop, located in Alamosa, Colorado, run by Zach. He is a awesome guy, good friend. But his business started out as a tattoo and piercing place. He didn't start selling comics until maybe like 2 years ago. And so he has mostly modern stuff. So, Stay Puft, some of my oldest books are just from Silver Age, but not the big keys, just some good Spidey books. Yeah, I understand that. But my local comic shop is mostly modern stuff. I mean, you'd be lucky to find Bronze Age stuff just because it's not a shop that's been running for, a decade or so. It's a business. He's mostly a tattoo. His main profession is tattooing. He runs the comic book shop, or I should say his assistant runs the floor kind of thing for the comic book area. But they have started to branch out recently a little bit, and there's a table located near her where they sell Silver Age stuff like Superboy, a couple old Superboy, when he was younger, Superman when he was younger, Action Comics, Avengers. I bought my Amazing Spider-Man 44, I believe. It was the second appearance of the Lizard. It was in bad shape. The cover was detached. But like I said, Spider-Man is one of my major collection, part of my major part of the collection, my second go-to guy. And so I didn't care what shape it was in. I bought it for $15. My oldest, Ray here said, you hope you don't mind me calling you Ray. My oldest is Casper the Friendly Ghost from 1960. Yeah, I mean, that's cool. I mean, I've seen books like Casper and Disney and things like that on eBay and in comic book groups on Facebook. But I thought it was cool, but nothing I really was really interested in. Not want to spend money on. I'm a superhero, I guess. Comic book collector. But I leave that to other guys who have other interests. So, but yeah, that's cool. I remember watching Casper as a kid. But well, this I don't really know what else to talk about, to be honest. Um, I really I don't know. Ray or Ray is fine. Thank you for that. I didn't want to. I hate when people call me my full name is Matthew. I haven't gone by Matthew in years. I always prefer Matt when people call me my name. But yeah, I guess $1. Yeah, that would be a reason. Um, so that's a good investment, I guess, for $1. But like I said, I don't know what to talk about. My biggest news, my most recent news, just like I said, for right now, is they buying the Superman, Death of Superman omnibus. I guess it's gonna be like the third one of that series, or that's kind. That'll be shipping out April 16th. Bought it on Amazon for $91, I think it was. I think it might have been just a pre-order price though, and then for $6 more for shipping or something, or taxes, so under $100. Not bad considering the YouTube video I watched today with the guy talking about debating on whether he wanted to upgrade or not because he had the other two on the table with him. Said $150. So, but I really look forward to that. Fortunately, I have to wait. What? 2 more days left in March here. 16 days before it prints out. So a little under 3 weeks. Probably another week for the shipping. So another month. If you guys watching this, watching now or in live, and future people watching, I'll definitely be showing it off with my recent comic book hauls on my channel here when I get it. So should be cool. Heavy as hell. I think it's over 1,400 pages. So I look forward to reading it. I got the limited collector's set for Death of Superman. It came with a trade paperback, a poster, and an Action Comics #1 reprint. That's cool. Fortunately, I had to take it out of the plastic because of the trade and reprint were getting damaged. Yeah, I understand that. I have I like that cover. Superman 81 when he's going off to fight it. But I have a couple comics like this. Superman 82, Back for Good. I believe this is where he's defeated Mongol at Coast City and flew back to Metropolis, and Lois jumps into his arms, kissing him. But that one I have, that Superman. Like I said, the raw print. But this Adventures of Superman 500, and it's a bagged thing. And like I said, I got one unbagged so I could read it. Where's the other one? God, these books are getting heavy. But yeah, I have others like thought I had in the stack. But the Death of Superman, the black poly bag. I have several. Like I said, I have several. I must have 7, maybe even 8. Death of Superman. Superman 775, just because it's my all-time favorite issue. I mean, so much that I painted it. One of my hobbies includes painting. Give it a little bit better view if someone wanted to see it. But yeah, inspires a lot. It's the what is the yeah, thanks. What is the slogan for the just out Captain Marvel, farther, faster, higher, or anyway? But inspires you to reach for the unattainable, even if you can't reach it, and that's something to something to admire. I mean, the world nowadays, today, is too much negativity, too much people down, bringing each other down, and racism, and all these natural disasters, shootings, things that are just horrible. We need a light, a beacon to aim for. Superman represents that for me. Something to strive for. Even if I can't reach it, it's something to inspire. Superman is just, it all began with Superman. Really, that's all I can say. That's how I sum it up. That's the only way I can make sense of it, to sum it up. It all began with a Superman. And he's been with me ever since. And I look forward to him being there in the future. So thank you, Stay Puff, GPAP, Ray, Kyle, or Prince Waka, whoever's still watching. I appreciate you guys coming up and visiting. I stayed on for about 15, 20 minutes longer than I originally planned to, just because it was good to have guys to talk to. So let me know what you think in the video. Is there a superhero or character that inspires you, that was the start of your collection? Like, like Death of Superman. Like a Death of Superman was for me. These two books. This is my first one, and this is my all-time favorite. This is what it is. Superman was what characterized it, what started it for me. Those two comics, what started it for me. And it fueled another passion. My passions, once I get a drive or a passion, once I start something, it takes a life of its own. It's like a wildfire. Good luck containing it. I look forward to it in the future. Like I said, I bought that. I've not bought that. I built the case recently. It'll hold, hopefully, for years to come. Maybe 5 years or so before it fills up. Hopefully, at the rate I'm going, it might be filled up next month. But yeah, thank you for those showing up. I know it's 52 minutes long, 53 now. If you want to watch again, I really appreciate it. It means so much. If you like the video, please, if you like my show here, please subscribe. Leave a comment below. If you watched the whole thing, definitely leave me a comment. As We Love Comics says on his channel, tell me you're a power viewer and that you watched the whole thing. It's hard to watch an hour-long YouTube channel. Believe me, it's hard. Some of the guys I watch, when they're that long, it's like, wow. Of course, I know how easy it is to get started talking and not want to shut up. So, but yeah, comment below. Who's your start to comic book collecting? What was your start to comic book collecting? What is your center of your collection? Superman and Spider-Man are my center. Everything else just flows out to what catches my eye. So, again, thank you guys for showing up. Thank you for watching. Thank you for talking to me. And I hope you have a good night. And stay tuned for next Wednesday, when I'll be doing my usual New Comic Book Day haul. With what I get over the course of the week for eBay or my local comic book store. Until next time, have a good evening. Have a good day tomorrow, and happy collecting.